As you can see, we're about to film another episode of the hit podcast series called The Tall Grass,
a masculine podcast.
We have heard you loud and clear on the feedback we received from episode 1, and that feedback was that you couldn't hear us at all. The sound was trash, the environment, the acoustics, not good.
At least 3 of you were happy about not being able to hear us, which I also understood.
But we have remedied the situation. We have upgraded. It didn't take that long. Our budget has skyrocketed after 1 episode.
We spent $1,000 on a state-of-the-art podcast studio.
This is a sound check.
Shema Yisrael.
Your wish is our command. Welcome to episode 2 of the Tall Grass podcast.
First of all, this is a podcast.
Clearly.
He did the grass. This one is in front of that one. That's called layering. I did the S's. The Tall Grass. Thank you for following along. We've spent a lot of time and hard work on perfecting our setup for this podcast. Some of you were being kind of, frankly, little bitches about the sound last week, but we cater to our audience even when you're bitchy. This is a podcast, and it will be starting now. I call this podcast to order with this femur and this roll of toilet paper.
It's like Skull and Bones, but with more fiber.
And more of a high-dollar budget.
Thank you.
This is a bovine femur. You can find a link on the TikTok shop. I learned a trick from my neighbor about using bones. Boning, if you will. I'm good at it.
I mean, who amongst us doesn't bone their neighbor from time to time?
I bone several of my neighbors frequently. I give them the old femur what for. I knock on their doors with my bovine femur and I say, I have a bone to pick with you. And then we commence to picking the bone.
Speaking of Matt Ellsworth.
Matt Ellsworth is a fella that I love. And he sold us this podcast studio. Well, he sold it to me under fraudulent circumstances nearly, I think, like 2 years ago. Here's the thing about Matt Ellsworth. He's a shrewd negotiator. And several years before this, when this...
I got it.
This is a podcast. Matt Ellsworth sold me this podcast studio when it was just a vehicle, before it was a podcast studio. And he wanted to sell it to me for $3,500. And I said, you can go fly a freaking kite.
You didn't even think about boning him, did you?
No, I didn't pick bones with him or nothing. I just said, hey, listen here. I know you're proud of your 2003 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo, but that doesn't fit my lifestyle.
Or my narrative. I think it's important if you just throw narrative into a podcast about every 10 to 15 minutes.
Yes, we are rewriting the narrative.
Thank you.
So anyways, then what he did is on December 4th, a few years ago, and I only remember that because it's his birthday. I'm really doxing this fella named Matt now. He was born on December 4th.
Pearl Harbor.
He ran this podcast studio into an elderly woman's vehicle in the parking lot of a Walmart.
On purpose?
Just out of sheer negligence. He's the kind of fella that doesn't fully understand the power and capabilities of a 2003 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo. And when he's navigating it in and around other people with, lower to middle class vehicles in a Walmart parking lot type situation, he might just plow into someone's Cadillac. Matt Ellsworth is a guy that I love. His ethnicity is not important to me.
It is
or
not.
This story.
This is not a government
But it
census.
is a story about him failing to maintain control of a vehicle, so...
We're just reporting the facts, really.
I don't believe in stereotypes.
Thank you.
Once he did plow into the old woman at Walmart, the price on this podcast studio went from $3,500 down to $1,000. Sam Walton is good at creating a deal. Like, capitalism is good for all of us.
The art of the deal.
The art of the deal. That's what Matt Ellsworth read before he plowed into that old woman. I have this vehicle now. One thing that he did not do when he sold me the podcast studio was he didn't give me the title, which is legally necessary to put it into my name. And then he forced me to eat a couple of dozen truck stop roller wieners.
The Glizzard King.
I was once the Glizzard King. And talk about having a bone to pick, man. I was just swallowing those things down. I was going into Love's, and I was going up to the roller weenie case, and I was selecting the ones that I felt like had been there less than 2 business days, stuffing them into a stale bun, and then devouring them in the confines of a 76-inch sleeper cab. It's one of the most depressing things a person could do. But then after I completed that challenge, he gave me the title for this podcast studio.
A man of his word.
It's one of the many things that I love about him. In a way, you could say that Matt Ellsworth is responsible for the content of this podcast.
And he's going to also have to pay for my chiropractor because I'm starting to cramp up pretty bad here. I think I threw up my lumbar.
Are you trying to say that this is not going to be the official podcast setup of the Tall Grass podcast, which is a podcast?
I did the grass.
I did the S's. The Tall Grass. I would like to find a survivor of a Matt Ellsworth plowing.
Indeed. I don't want to alarm you or anything, but your crotch has been staring at me for at least 8 to 9 minutes.
How much of this are you going to edit out?
None of it.
The Tall Grass Podcast, moving back to our original studio and to #1 on the iTunes podcast charts.
Exclusively on Grindr.
Thank you.
Please don't look at my show notes. I said please don't look at them.
Do you have some good stuff planned?
Absolutely not.
Oh.
I think we need to turn it. Little catty-womp.
I almost feel like it needs to be closer. This is now an ASMR podcast.
I made the grass.
The mood is sensual. The Tall Grass.
It's crooked. This is a crooked podcast.
This podcast contains chemicals known to the state of California to cause reproductive harm. Viewers of this podcast should either not be known by the state of California or have no plans to procreate.
This podcast is not vaccinated.
I have been immunized against the woke mind virus. It did not work. Thank you.
From the top?
From the top.
I got it. Welcome back to the official beginning of episode 2 of The Tall Grass. This is a podcast.
He did the grass. This one is in front of that one, and that is called layering.
He did the S's.
The Tall Grass.
Now, first things first, I have to let you know I am recording this podcast on the injured list. I'm injured. I hurt myself. My elbow, specifically. Are you familiar with sugar?
I know sugar in the biblical sense.
Have you heard of Halloween?
Yes.
Are you familiar with the correlation between sugar, candy, and Halloween?
I have 3 small children, I am aware.
No. The thing about sugar is it inflames. Did you know this? I don't want to dox anybody's HIPAA violations, but if you consume too much sugar, it goes straight to
Your joints?
the elbow. I'll cut to the chase. I have sugar elbow. My elbow hurts. I was unable to lift yesterday due to the injury, and I just putting it all out there for you so you know, you're aware. I don't want any surprises.
What kind of sugar are we talking about? Like high fructose corn syrup, cane sugars?
Hershey's chocolate bars, minis specifically.
Important updates. My sugar father has sugar elbow. Do you prefer sugar father or sugar daddy?
Now, the next thing we need to get to is that Leah will not let me build a golf simulator in the living room. Okay, now that we have cleared the deck, we're ready to host a podcast. Before we can host this podcast, we have to kind of elaborate on what happened, the debacle of episode 1, specifically.
Whoa, can you? Oh my God. Okay.
Can we stick to politics here? This is not a biblical or
This is not a biblical podcast, but we are out of order. Please commence the podcast the way that God intended.
Thank you. if I could just set the table for the audience who might be tuning into episode 2 without having endured episode 1. We were on a channel on YouTube. That channel lasted for exactly 13 hours and 17 minutes. The reason for this is that I'm not here to point blame. However, the man with the hair who established our YouTube channel with the Google email did not mind all his P's and Q's. He did not dot the T's and cross the I's. He was very hasty in his attempt to get rich and famous on the internet without doing proper research. And that's not his fault. It is, but I have to say that because I'm a good team player with Sugar Elbow still showing up to the podcast. Hang on, I'm not done. Now, the problem with Google with us was that he thought, I don't know if Google is a he, I didn't mean to misgender Google. Google thought, go ahead. That's gonna be some good asthma right there. Google thought my co-host was a robot because we kept trying to log in to check our bomb-ass analytics throughout the course of those 13 hours and 17 minutes. And they thought that was suspicious activity, and they thought he was a robot. So, now that you have all that in your forefront of your mind, I have to verify for myself that you are in fact not a robot.
I'm not a robot.
That sounds like something a robot would say, but I have to verify myself. I have a very
Google verified. They said, there's a bunch of pictures here. Which one of them has bicycles? And then I clicked all of them, and I fucking know what a bicycle is. And I clicked every picture that had a bicycle in it, and then I checked the box that explicitly said, I am not a robot.
You know a box you did not check? The one that says, does Giuseppe think you're a robot?
Crap.
So here we go. This is going to be probably the most difficult test you've ever taken, except for when you tried to pass the ASVAB for ISIS.
That was tricky.
This is going to be trickier.
This one is going to be less halal.
Here we go. Question number 1. Okay, a robot would not flinch. That was good. A question.
I just want to
Robots seem to be the type of being that would want to interrupt a lot. I'm just saying, but go ahead.
This is not an interruption. This is an addition.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to tell you, as this test administrator, that I thought that your jump scare reminded me of a jump scare that a person that did not have sugar in their elbow would do.
I'm still able to perform when the lights are on. That's what she said. Are you ready for question number 2, you supposed robot? Question number 2, where does the bread go?
Door number 10.
Thank you. Okay, so far you're 2 for 2.
See a robot steal that job.
Question.
Robot would never be able to get the bread to door number 10. I'll tell you that right now.
Bookmark that for later. Question number 3, who made the S's?
I made the S's. The tall grass.
And finally, to prove to one and all that you are not a robot and that you are a real Glizzard King, formerly known as W2 Company Wiener Boy, are you, in fact, cesarean?
I was born cesarean. I'm a cesarean survivor.
This concludes our test of the robotics. Thank you.
Not allowed to interrupt now.
Are you a real boy?
I am a good boy.
Definitely a masculine boy.
Should I tell the therapy story on the podcast?
I mean, it's your story to tell, not mine.
So I go to therapy on Wednesdays because I'm mentally well. And you can tell that from watching this podcast. But I was at therapy, and I have a therapist. And she was saying, let's talk about your mother. And I said, I'd prefer not to do that. And then she made me talk about it. And I pay her to make me talk about it. So we did.
This is the same mother that afforded you the ability to go to IHOP and get free pancakes on your birthday?
Yes, my mother, who gave me an eternal status as a stolen valor person by birthing me cesarean section on Veterans Day. That same mother. I told her a bunch of stuff about my mom. in the relationship that I enjoy with my mother. And she said, in a lot of ways, it sounds like you've had to be your own mother. And I said, I guess that might be true. And then she said, is that why you're so feminine? And then I said, fuck you.
In a masculine tone.
I said, fuck you!
Well, I think she learned her lesson.
Yeah, and so then I was like, so you are the one in the comment section. Editor, you might want to take out all that stuff about me, my mother, and therapy. From the top.
Sidebar?
Sidebar.
Do you really want me to take it out?
Nah, who cares? I think they know that I'm feminine.
I don't think they do.
It's-
Well, the hair maybe, but you're wearing flannel.
I'm wearing flannel. I'm like Kurt Cobain.
Dude, I don't want to say anything, but I'd smash.
You smash.
And I'm a extremely heterosexual, super manly man.
That was the whole
That
premise of
spits
this.
a lot.
That was the whole premise of this podcast, was that even though we are conducting this podcast in the bowels of your basement, and that the lighting and the ambiance are sensual, and we are sitting very close together, that we are two very heterosexual men.
And the fact that we're on Grindr exclusively has nothing to
The
do with
fact that we upload this podcast exclusively to Grindr is just a testament to how good we are at capitalism and has nothing to do with our sexual orientation.
Thank you. Are we ready to continue the podcast?
Yes, Daddy. I think that what's interesting here is that we have endured a monologue from this fella about how I have been accused of robotics, and I don't understand how in the same lifetime I can be accused of being a gay Amish candle maker and then being a robot.
It's quite the resume you've built for yourself.
I have on occasion made a candle or two. I have on occasion dabbled the fields with the robots, but never ever have I done it with the Amish or with the gays. The candles that I have made have been incredibly Protestant. I make heteronormative, non-robot candles, and I want that to be clear.
You bastard.
Thank you for joining us for episode 2 of the Tallgrass Podcast. We have the sniffles and we are not gay. If you have any further questions about either of these claims, please visit us on our Grindr profile.
From the top.
From the top, you never called this podcast to order.
I don't know Robert's Rules of Order. That's your thing.
I now call this podcast to order. Better not do this close to the microphone. We will now start this podcast with an invocation.
Oh.
Please bow your head. I'm not taking off my hat.
Oh.
That seems like what a robot would do, by the way. Dear terrestrial algorithm, please look down upon two salt of the earth clout farmers. All we do is we go to the field each day and we till the ground for clout. And even though we tried to do that from one email address and one password that we shared between at least 3 devices from several different geographic locations and IP addresses, I want you, the almighty algorithm, to understand.
Please hold that thought. I might have work tonight. Okay, where were we?
Every time we try to do a podcast, our employer tries to bring us back to the real world.
Do you remember that time our employer tried to bring us back to not being able to do clout on the yard? And then claimed that that wasn't about us?
We'll get to that. You're out of order.
The floor is yours.
Before I was so rudely interrupted, I would like to complete the invocation.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Dear almighty algorithm, Please look down on your humble cloud farming servants and understand that even though we don't take seriously enough cybersecurity or having a strong enough password and then not sharing that password amongst each other, please understand that I did go back to the sacred scrolls of google.com and learned how to start a brand account, which we were then able to link to our individual accounts. Mine, where I go years without posting a video, and when I do, it's about rebuilding a Hydro Boost unit on my 1984 GMC Sierra. And his, where he posts every day, except that when he doesn't.
800 days in a row, if you're keeping track at home.
I would also ask the almighty algorithm to please reunite me with the lady with the pet beavers in her backyard in the pond. That is the kind of whimsy that I need to start my day, and I have not seen her on my For You page. Also, please put this on the For You page of people that like podcasts by two heteronormative men in a basement whose lighting and ambiance could best be described as sensual, although it's a coincidence. Thank you.
The Tall Grass.
Which is a podcast.
I did the grass.
I messed up the flow. He did the grass. I did the S's. The tall grass. Should we talk about some old business?
Should we let them have a minute so they can clear their eyes? Because that was a very moving benediction or whatever you called it.
An invocation.
Same thing.
Eggs Benedict is a different thing.
You like Ranchos, Huevos, Rancheros.
I like Huevos Rancheros. I have eaten Huevos Rancheros in at least 13 states.
With extra hot sauce.
Extra hot sauce.
Why do you like to eat so much hot sauce?
I, as a person, and it's taken me a long time to realize this, I am the most content when I'm uncomfortable, and that includes when I eat. I like food that causes me to perspire and question my willingness to live.
That makes sense.
Bread curry, Huevos Rancheros, habanero peppers. My $2,200 computer is a robot, unlike me. I am a person, and it has frozen.
Should you put your flannel on your computer to see if it warms up?
That did nothing.
Did you try to cycle the key?
Old business.
Okay.
I have some old business to discuss. In last week's episode of the Tall Grass podcast, which is a podcast, you made a comment.
I thought I made several.
And I'm aggrieved.
Oh, do tell.
You made a comment. I said that I could provide the algorithm and the people with content about how to nutritiously satiate the hunger of children. Because I have 3 children.
Congrats on the sex.
Thank you. I cook for them. And you said that all I cook for them is macaroni and cheese and hot dogs.
I think you took me out of context.
Be that as it may, this would give me an opportunity to talk about what I cooked at my house on Tuesday night. Would you like to hear about it?
I would love. I'm all ears.
I made picadillo.
I think it's pico de gallo.
No, that's a different thing.
Then you made it wrong.
Thank you. And Spanish rice. My picadillo I make from scratch. I used yellow onions and Yukon Gold potatoes.
Was it good?
And ground roadkill meat, which is a staple in my home. Similar to hot dogs, but not yet sanctioned by the USDA.
Oh, I had Spam.
Do you have any more old business to discuss?
Going over my notes. Nope. I only have new business I would like to discuss.
Can I talk about Halloween real quick, or is that new business?
Can I talk about how the Dodgers won the World Series? And that has been your sports report.
This is an America First podcast. If you are watching like the analytics suggest, all 3 of you from New Zealand, Australia, and the United Kingdom, you can gaffro. This is an America First podcast. On Halloween, I dressed up. I was not going to dress up, and then my wife, whom I love, she said, don't you have a bunch of costumes that we spent an incredible amount of money on that you use to go trick animals into letting you shoot them in the woods? And I said, I do have those. I would prefer that you not call them costumes because it seems like you're making fun of my hobbies. She said, why don't you put on one of those costumes? So I did. I dressed up as a guy who wants to shoot a turkey. Okay?
I had all kinds of camouflage matching. I had a face mask, it was camouflaged. I had gloves, they were camouflaged. And then we went into an affluent neighborhood that my wife assured me hands out king-size candy bars.
Oh,
And then
that's how I got sugar elbow.
it was all fine and good. And then there was some small children dressed up as deer. And one of them said to me, "You should hunt us."
Oh, God.
And I told them the God honest truth, which is the only way that me, an adult masculine man dressed as a turkey hunter, is going to hunt small children is if you have a parent or guardian that is dressed up as Chris Hansen. And that is the only circumstance in which I will entertain this egregious sin of hunting small children. And then there was a house that was handing out booze. They had cider that was laced with Fireball whiskey. I drank 2 ounces of that and then almost fell into the fire pit that they put into their driveway. And nobody saw or could help me because I was completely camouflaged. How was your Halloween?
Before Halloween, my elbow was fully functional. Now my elbow is completely fucked and full of sugar.
When I was a kid, I didn't celebrate Halloween because my parents taught me that it was evil.
How did you get your booze then?
I didn't. Did not drink intoxicants. That was also evil. But one thing that I'm starting to learn now from your experience of defiling your body and injuring yourself, and my experience of almost being entrapped into an untoward activity with small neighborhood children, is that Halloween actually might be evil. We might need to cool it on the Hallow and the Ween.
We should really cool it on the ween around children too, by the way.
This is a ween-friendly podcast. Please put away your children. And I, for the record, will not hunt them. Moving on, new business. Do you have any new business to discuss?
I have new business.
Okay.
I have segments for this podcast.
Are we doing segments now?
I was afraid that it wasn't going to go long enough. So
Oh, you know, one thing that we should do is
is this a sidebar?
this sidebar, later on in this episode, around hour 7, I think that we should do something called the mailbag.
Oh, where we answer questions from the audience?
Or just...
Or we just go steal the neighbor's mail?
Both would probably be good content for the algorithm.
Okay.
But I'm thinking that we should take some comments that we've received on our multiple channels for the Tallgrass podcast.
I would love to take original comments from our original podcast, but because you're a robot, allegedly, we no longer have access.
For the final time,
Yeah.
I am not a fucking robot. I found the pictures with the bicycles in them, dude. I did such a good job. Segments.
Segment number 1. I have entitled this segment, I Am a Genius. I did a lot of research since our episode 1 aired and then unaired and then re-aired. And what they're telling me is that you have to placate to a large variety of people. And I disagree. Forget what the experts say. We need to eliminate 92.4% of our audience right off the top. This podcast is not for listening whilst doing the following. At the gym.
This is not a gym-friendly podcast, at least until we remove the sugar from Joe's elbow, and that's in our exclusive Patreon episode.
It should not be listened to while taking your kids to karate. As we've already discussed, this is not a kid-friendly podcast. He's a robot. You can't trust robots around your kids.
Bleepity bloop.
And finally, you shouldn't be listening to this while you're foraging for huckleberries.
What the frick?
Listen.
I am a member of this podcast. I drew the S's.
I made the grass.
And if I want to listen to you talk about grains of sugar in and around your elbow while I am outside in the literal tall grass looking for huckleberries, so be it.
It's not for you.
Oh,
I just
carry on.
was very clear about that. This podcast is only for piece of garbage dry van drivers that are waiting at a shipper to get loaded, even though their appointment was at 7 a.m. and they are still there at 4 p.m. This is for dry van drivers who are staring at a blinking red light that will not turn green for any reason. This podcast is for dry van drivers whose Xbox inexplicably quit working in the back of their sleeper. This podcast is only for dry van drivers who ran out of snacks at noon. This podcast is only for dry van drivers who have no access to a porta-john or toilet, only a bag.
Or the tall grass.
And finally, this podcast is only for dry van drivers who have lost all hope for living and are just waiting for the sweet release of death.
Which is all van drivers.
That is our target audience. If you're not a dry van driver sitting at door 48, watching a blinking red light that will not turn green, it is time for you to gaff row. Thank you. And that concludes segment 1.
This segment was called I Am a Genius.
Yeah.
I endorse this segment, but I do not understand the correlation, and I would like to add one thing, if you don't mind.
It makes sense that you don't understand because a robot wouldn't understand what a genius actually is, because a robot only thrives on data and being oiled every now and again.
Okay, for the last time, am I
Notice his movements.
am I
rigid.
a gay Amish candle maker? Am I a soy child? Am I a wiener boy? Or am I a robot? My therapist says I'm feminine. This flannel says otherwise. This is a podcast.
Those tones are autumnal.
Dude, your vocabulary is so good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Segment number 2. Are you ready? Are you still
ready.
trying to comprehend segment number 1? Segment number 2. I call this one, Do You Miss Flatbedding? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Do you miss flatbedding?
Yes.
Okay, segment number 3. First, a word from our sponsors. Sponsor number 1 is Big Brother. If you're ever feeling lonely, misunderstood, just need a friend and a companion, somebody that's always watching, turn on your laptop.
Leave location services on for everything.
Sally Jesse Raphael. And finally, Sega Dreamcast. Did you ever have a Dreamcast when you were a child?
I did not. I was not allowed to play with things that entertained the sorcery of portable electronics.
Because robots don't need to be entertained.
I don't understand how I could even be a robot. My favorite toy as a child was a stick that I moved through the ground and created roads and infrastructure.
Is that what your designer told you to do with that stick, or programmed you, or?
I was not programmed. I have deprogrammed. I was programmed to be a gay Amish candle maker, and I escaped that programming, and now I make heteronormative candles.
And podcasts.
For Protestants. And podcasts. Also, there's a sponsor he's leaving out, and I don't know why he's not doing it. Well, I don't know why he'd leave it out.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't have my glasses on. Okay, I'm listening.
This podcast is now... Okay, here's the thing. Joe, as we all know, is a pillar of traditional values. He runs a tight ship. He enforces strict roles in his household, which is why this podcast being sponsored by your wife, Leah, and her job that you let her take outside this home is alarming. But we need money for this podcast, and she makes very good money at a place that we're not going to talk about to keep all the creeps away from her perfect eyebrows.
It's a very lucrative endeavor that she's embarking on.
And that, again, this is out of character for Giuseppe because he is a conservative man of value. He would rather the women in his household stay here. I, on the other hand, am married to the redhead, and she has taken 2 jobs outside of our home. And this is a surprise to no one because I do not run a tight ship, I run a woke ship. And I let anyone that resides in my home go out into the world and bring back money. I believe in that because I am woke and capitalism rules. Also, recently, my wife, whom I love, was nominated by something called the Young Professionals Club. She was nominated to be one of the 30 most influential community members under the age of 40. So congratulations to the redhead. She is one of the most influential sub 40-year-olds in the county that we reside, as determined by the Young Professionals Club. And I found that out about the same time that I messed up our podcast Google account. So I said to her, this is convenient because I actually need a young professional to help me figure out how to trick Google into thinking I'm not a robot. And you know what she said?
I don't.
You'll figure it out. This podcast is not sponsored by the Young Professionals Club, the redhead and her 29 young professional cohorts, because they're selfish. They do not care about the future of this podcast. And even though they are young and professional, they are not following the Tall Grass, which is a podcast.
I made the grass.
I made the S's. This podcast is brought to you by Leah and her perfect eyebrows.
I don't think she paid for that much airtime, but
So you're anti giving your lady a good deal on podcast promotions? You think we should give her less time?
she's used to getting less time from me.
Because you are running a tight ship?
And because I'm very quick at the sex.
Which I know nothing about, because this is a heteronormative podcast. Thank you.
Also, you're a robot, and robots don't do that.
Guys, I'm not a robot.
Segment number 3.
If I was a robot, I would bone in a way that no human could ever understand.
Because of your bovine femur?
I would incorporate the bovine femur into a rhythm and a cadence that is incomprehensible to the human mind.
You have no idea how a human mind works?
I am not a robot, but if I was a robot, I would be a love-making robot.
A sex doll.
A sex bot. Again, this is not a children-friendly podcast. Thank you.
If your children are still watching this podcast, in whatever hour this is right now, you should turn them over to CPS immediately. You are not a good parent.
I am a good parent. I made picadillo for my children and did not hunt the other children in camouflage, even though I was encouraged to do so.
What about the roadkill?
I do feed my children roadkill. That's because I believe in traditional American values. Unlike your woke-ass house. Just ladies flying out the door, going into the world.
They have little pokers, though.
Nice.
Segment number 3. I call this segment, Do You Remember? Are you ready?
I am ready.
This is a brand new segment.
This is a new segment.
New segment alert. Do we have sound effects?
These sound effects were created by a human being. These are not robot sounds. These are sounds of a masculine human being in flannel. Thank you.
This is where I just ask you
It's
a
a good
question.
time for me to...
No, blow it, dude. Yep. Probably got a lot of built-up WD-40 up there.
This is an ASMR podcast. I do not have WD-40 in my nose. I'm a human being, not a robot. Thank you.
Do you remember the Juniper Rest area on New Year's Eve?
To set the stage, once upon a time, I was a human being that operated a Class 8 commercial vehicle, pulling a flatbed trailer. One time I was doing that on interstates known as 80 and 84. I was moving westward. I drove through Wyoming. As a sidebar, this was the inaugural trip of the Sexy Kitchen Robot.
Oh, God, I missed that thing.
Dude, I am not a robot, but I did have a sexy ass kitchen robot.
I remember.
And this is when I told you that I was putting it on the table while I was driving, cooking a pot roast, and that nothing bad would ever happen because it had sticky feet. And you said, as a human being, I highly recommend you don't do that.
Yeah, I remember.
And then the pot roast fell onto my bed, marinated my sheets with tomato paste and pepperoncini juice. My bed has never tasted better. Moving westbound there, and they shut down the road in Idaho on Interstate 84, and I made it to a place called the Juniper Rest Area. And this is getting technical into the tall grass here, about hours of service regulations. We can drive for 70 hours, but at the end of that 70 hours, you got to take a 34-hour reset or restart. You gotta not move the truck for 34 hours. So they shut down the road, and I said, this is lovely. I'm doing a 34-hour reset at the Juniper Rest Area, which I forgot about 31 hours later, which, by the way, is 3 hours less than 34. They said, the road is now open for commercial use. And I said, I'm a commercial driver. I will leave. And as I was driving down the road, I realized I had really no hours left because I had left 3 hours shy of a 34-hour reset. 2 hours down the road, I stopped in Bliss, Idaho, so that I could harass one of my coworkers and make a TikTok video. I was there for at least 2.5 hours, meaning I am really good at this. And at January 1, while I was at the Juniper Rest Area, I made a video for the entire internets, and I said, listen here, I have 2 resolutions. I will not split the sleeper. I will not shit my pants. I immediately split the sleeper in Bliss, Idaho. And then later on that year, I shit my pants in a horrible way that we could discuss later. So not only am I good at operating commercial vehicles over the road, I'm also good at making commitments at the beginning of the year. That video in which I harassed one of our coworkers named Bruce, shout out Bruce, I got a ton of views on it. So who needs a 34-hour reset?
Not a robot.
I also gave some of the pot roast to a 17-year-old that was stranded at the Juniper Rest Area on her way to a party. But because I understand social norms, I did not offer her to taste some of my marinated sheets. I just gave her the pot roast. Do you want me to remember anything else?
Are you ready for segment 4?
I'm ready for the 4th segment.
I would have been ready for segment 4 too, but in the process of preparing for this podcast episode, by the time I got to number 4, all I did was write down the number 4, and then I got distracted by my hunger, and so I went to the refrigerator. Got some chicken thighs out of the refrigerator that had been previously grilled. Put them in the microwave for 1 minute and 30 seconds. Took them out of the microwave, ate them, and then went and watched YouTube golf.
Can you believe this moron was talking crap to me about not making good meals for my children? He's over here watching golf, microwaving chicken thighs.
Do you have any idea how good chicken thighs are?
I do like chicken thighs.
Thank you.
It's time to pause and reflect. This is the reflection portion of the podcast. Please lower your heads and think about everything you've heard so far.
We ready for the mailbag?
This is where 2 very masculine, heterosexual human beings read comments left to us on social media sites, primarily Grindr, where our podcast is exclusively sponsored. Thank you.
Speaking of Grindr, number 1 viewer/audience member Matt Varner, aka Raving Noah, says, okay, let's try this again.
I love Raving Noah, by the way.
Dude, I like it when he boxes the bollards.
Yeah. Shout out Raving Noah. You did a killer bollard video, and you had no way of knowing this, but we had an incredibly explosive bollard incident right before you posted that video. It could not have been timed better.
CSXT Bone Valley. A friend of yours with the bones?
We've boned in the valley.
We need to hear Jesse's thoughts on Millard Fillmore and the Whig Party.
This is not a political podcast, as you've noticed. This is a podcast that we are recording on November 7th, and you haven't heard me say anything about New York City, Virginia, New Jersey, California, all places in which the woke mind virus has been let to run completely amok, which I do not like because I have been recently immunized against the woke mind virus. And you didn't hear me talk about politics and the fact that I voted to increase property taxes in my county to fund emergency, medical, and fire services. We do not discuss politics on this podcast.
Correct. But November 4, 2025 was a big day for soy boys. Okay, Heather C. Boat Girl says, wait, so we're just watching the first one again? Not how I do it, but I'll watch again.
No disrespect to Heather the Boat Girl.
Can we talk about Heather real quick?
Yes.
This is a Do You Remember Part 2. Do you remember when she cost me making a delivery on time? Or a day early because...
Oh, this was I-40 in New Mexico, Heather?
Was it New Mexico or was it Arizona?
Arizona, I think, yeah. I remember, Heather.
I was cruising along my way to make my delivery a day early. 64.6 miles an hour in the right lane where I belong. And all of a sudden, this truck, like a bat out of hell, with guess what? Flailing out the top of her sunroof. Candy. She had no idea I had a future sugar elbow ailment.
Heather, have some decency. Do you understand how inflamed his elbow is now?
Not only was it the sugar and the inflamed elbows were the problem, but when I pulled over because I thought I realized what was happening, but it could have also been a trap. We exchanged the gifts. We didn't exchange anything. She gave me like a bag full of
You
Halloween.
grifted her out of candy.
I, being the grifter that I was and am still to this day, I grifted the ever-loving shit out of her.
Heather Boat Girl did not grift me any candy because he is the grifter. I am the soy boy. I was slurping down soybeans in the comfort of my sleeper at this time. Thank you.
The other thing that Heather did that day was almost get me arrested. Because as we were on the shoulder finishing the clouts, 2 state patrol men,
Arizona Road Pirates
approached us from the rear. This is where you can find us exclusively on Grindr. And they said, is everything okay here? And I looked at them very confused and said, yes, look at my elbow. So this is my number one memory of Heather. And then I was 15 minutes late for my delivery, which I could not make a day early.
And so she did not write a note.
She didn't write a note.
An unexcused absence.
But do you know what I did get? Because I was 15 minutes late, but I had to spend...
A 600-mile Poverty Pete special out of Phoenix. Shout out previous employer.
Yeah, Mud Pete.
Mud Pete.
But before that, I did a walkabout. And I walked about to In-N-Out down the road. And then around the spring training baseball complexes. It was pretty cool.
Did you get your In-N-Out pickle fried?
I don't know what that means. Sounds like something a robot would eat.
I am a robot. I'm ready to admit it now. I'm a robot that shits his pants. I wonder if I should finger fiddle the mailbag on TikToks while you're handling the Grindr situation.
JFDR says, man, I had all kind of great comments on the original channel.
Why are you only picking out comments that seem to be highlighting the fact that I did not set up our account correctly in the first place?
I'll find a good one. Just relax.
This will be the last episode of the Tallgrass podcast because the disrespect is something I cannot handle. As a human being, if I were a robot, I wouldn't feel the need to be passive and or aggressive. But since I'm a simple wiener boy,
A former Glizzard King.
I am the former Glizzard and or Strap King, and I never was gay or Amish.
Not bitter at all says, number 32 this time. Walleye DBC with a bunch of numbers says,
Oh, I like this guy. He's funny as hell.
so apparently the quieter, more masculine one likes to quit a lot. So what's the under-over on episodes of the pod Tallgrass? I'm going to say 16.
Take it back. What's his name? Wall-eyed?
Walleye PC.
Nice try. This is my therapist's burner account, accusing me once again of femininity. Walleye is a good guy, and he made 3 comments on our Grindr profile, and that is causing me to feel like this might be a possibly lucrative endeavor.
I have an actual question for you now. Official question number 1 for the podcast from Curtis Grimes. If you shit your pants in the woods and no one hears or sees it, did you really shit your pants?
Let me tell you something about shitting your pants in the woods. I feel like the whole losing control of one's bowels is a tease for this podcast, and I don't want to play my cards too early. I feel like the real stories need to come later, around episode 7. which, as you know, is historically the number of shit. I just made that up. It wasn't very funny. Cut that out. I'm going to tell you something right here and now. Mm-hmm. You're looking at a guy that has shit himself in the woods on more than one occasion. And the reason that you will always know that it did actually happen is that when you come back to your vehicle or to the place where you reside, or you come out of the woods in general, there is always still shit somewhere. That's the problem with shitting yourself. This depends a lot on your diet. I famously have a terrible diet. It's just like Red Bull, hot, flaming Cheeto shit. That's not something that you're just gonna kick away, you know? It's gonna linger, cranberry style. R.I.P. Dolores O'Riordan.
Do you want to wipe your nose now?
This is a health-focused podcast. That's why I have the sniffles. Thank you.
This podcast is not contagious, but we do hope that it spreads.
The CDC says that the woke mind virus is not communicable through Grindr-hosted podcasts. But do your own research.
On our main channel on Grindr, we are up to 356 subscribers.
I love 356 of you currently watching episode 2 of The Tall Grass.
Even the wall-eyed man?
Yeah, dude, that guy's funny as heck.
Oh.
He called me a lady. I like walleyes. His profile picture is like him holding a walleye, I think. I feel like we could
You
hang.
think?
I think.
Now all of a sudden you cannot identify what you see in pictures?
Correct. Because I am a robot. Really hate you for outing me as a robot. Didn't realize that was going to be a prime focus of this episode. Rowedder, Rowedder says on TikTok, when does episode 2 drop? The good news about that question is that if you're watching this, it's dropped. It's here. This is episode 2. This is not a drill. BudCobb05 says that backdrop is great.
I did the grass.
Thank you. This is a podcast. Thank you. Official Tattooed Trucker 38, whom we love.
Oh, we did canned chicken.
In last episode, I told you guys that I have commitment issues and I don't love some of you. Mm-hmm. But I love Official Tattooed Trucker 38. Because one time in Snowville, Utah, we did a communion. Mm-hmm. We did a communion of canned chicken on crackers.
You like mine better?
I no longer like Official Tattooed Trucker 38. But he says, we are so back. Oh, Canola Cowboy on TikTok, really rubbing it in Giuseppe style. Mm. Can we get a link? It can't be found on YouTube. Yeah, because I'm a robot. But we fixed that now. So get wrecked, Canola. What's your name? Canola Cowboy. That's a great name, by the way.
Because of the alliteration.
That has alliteration. I am suspicious that you are not a robot. That sounds like classic human being creativity.
Curtis Grimes says, this is an hour of my life that I will never get back. And I am 0% mad about it. And thank you for not being mad. That is my job. And that wraps up the mailbag. Did that suck?
With a little bit of finger fiddling in the Splice app, I think it'll suck less. Attention editor, please try to make this podcast not suck. Can we talk about something on the podcast for everyone to hear? I feel like I learned about this. We have an unresolved conflict, you and I. And the best way to resolve a conflict is to make an admission before you bring up a contentious issue. Mm. So I'm going to, in moments, I will be accusing you of something. Do you understand? But to soften that accusation, by the way, this is real human being behavior. A robot could never do what I'm about to do. To soften the accusation that I will soon be levying against you, mm-hmm. I will make an admission of my own, of a similar transgression, so that you can understand that when I'm making this accusation, I'm coming from a place of understanding. because I've made a similar problem.
But not a place of love.
This is a place of platonic love because this is a podcast hosted by two heteronormative and masculine men. That's why I wore the flannel.
Mm-hmm.
The ambiance is sensual. That's coincidental. I want to make an admission of my own. In the year 2008, I had hair, long hair, not as long as this, but I had fairly long hair. It was down past the ears. I was in maggot-infested hippie territory. That's what Clay Barrymore called it. I had a girlfriend at the time because I'm a masculine human being that happens to enjoy reruns of the Cranberries' Tiny Desk concert. It was 2008. I was 16 years old. I had a girlfriend. I had hair. She said she liked my hair. But then I pulled a move that you're familiar with where I went into the bathroom and I shaved it all off with clippers. But what I did is instead of throwing the hair away, I put it in a gallon-sized Ziploc bag and gave it to my girlfriend. Because she said she liked my hair, which is an example of me not understanding social cues. Not because I'm a robot, but because I'm stupid. Thank you. So I've made my admission.
Okay.
Now I'm going to levy my accusation against you.
I forgot all about the accusation part of this.
One time in 2024, you and I were traveling along an interstate. Interstate 90 near Bozeman, Montana.
I freaking love Montana.
We were going in opposite directions. And I did this. I raised my hand and waved.
After he tried calling
I
me.
was going eastbound. You were going westbound. You reacted to me giving you the wave by ignoring me completely. Which is to say that much like me giving a Ziploc bag full of my own hair to a girl, you misunderstood social circumstances and norms. And that hurt my feelings. Thank you.
Do you realize that if you were not a robot, you would have understood well before we got to Bozeman and crossed paths there that I was not having a great time? And maybe you could have picked up on some social cues and not push the issue?
Bleepity bloop, -0.
I was vlogging at the time though. And when I finally reached my destination, which was a rest area somewhere west of Missoula, normally I started each new location with Missoula, Montana. And in this time I just said,
Some fucked up rest area. That clip would have been funny.
I'm in some f***ed up rest area in western Montana, and I would love to quit this stupid ass fucking job, but I can't.
Except I was still sad because you didn't wave at me. Because I am masculine. I am a human being. I have been accused of homosexual candle making while being affiliated with the Amish. Those are not fair accusations, but one thing that is true is I'm a human being, and when Joe Seppi does not wave at me on Interstate 90, it hurts my human, heteronormative, masculine feelings. Thank you. I'm glad we cleared that up. Please wave to me when I wave at you.
Do you remember when Dave Cressy said you had gay pants?
Circling back to number 3, do you remember? That is a segment that we are no longer in, but I am revisiting. Joe, do you remember Dave Cressy, our favorite flatbed philosopher?
I remember. What you do on one side, you do on the other.
What you do on one side, you do on the other. Dave, every time I came back to the yard at the place we used to work, he would say a lot of shit to me, but some of the shit that he would say to me is, wow, you're really getting fat. And you're gay. I was fat and gay in the eyes of David Cressy. Then one time in like 2022, I went ahead and lost like 90 fucking pounds. That didn't keep Dave from calling me gay by any stretch, but he kept calling me fat. And I finally said to this guy, I said, how much weight do I have to lose for you to start calling me skinny and gay? I quit that job before he ever answered me. David Cressy, if you are watching this video, please tell me at which point you stopped thinking of me as a gay fat person and more as a heteronormative robot. Thank you. In conclusion, Dave Cressy, we miss you.
We have a segment called Piece of Garbage Auburn Driver.
This is a good segment.
And we actually have boots on ground. However, when reached today for his first appearance on the tall grass.
Ooh, I'm on vacation because Auburn drivers make more money than Spokane drivers. I have all kinds of PTO. I got you into this job under false pretenses. I'm gambling my savings away.
FYI, piece of garbage Auburn drivers. We don't understand how mathematical odds work at all. So we spend a bunch of time at these tables losing the money that we easily make for delivering groceries. So it's a circular system, right? We make this money and then we give it back. We help our communities rebuild themselves through gambling. This sign is a gentle reminder that if you call an escort to your room, you might catch something. Where the hell even am I? Paris or Vegas? Make up your mind. Okay, Vegas. This is a weird way to try to convince me to get in the bath. But it's not unsuccessful. It is a little known fact that Caesar had like a silver-plated race car. This was actually, everybody else was driving around in chariots, but Caesar had a silver-plated race car. And also that looks more like Marcus Aurelius than it does Caesar. But I don't judge. Art is art. It's subjective. In conclusion, Vegas, try harder. I'd give you 6 out of 10 Yelp stars. If I was your football coach, I'd probably make you run lines or do bear crawls until 9 o'clock tonight, and then bench you the next 2 games out of spite, even if we lose. This has been an on-the-spot report from your friendly piece of garbage Auburn driver. Take care. Also, dry heat means your beard is garbage. Nothing you can do about it. It just does its own thing. Peace.
Well, Jesse, as we discussed on episode 1 of The Tall Grass, which is a podcast, we don't know.
You did the grass.
You did the S's.
The tall grass.
We have no idea how to begin a podcast, no idea how to get the lighting correct for a podcast. We have no idea how to end the podcast. But I believe the time has come that we should try to end this one. Because I have to work tonight. And somehow edit.
And I have to recharge my Android batteries because I am a gay candle-making robot.
Thank you.
I'm sorry that I tried to start a podcast with a personal email address and then just slip you the password like a discreet drug deal, and that Google took offense to that. I have since done clickety-clack research on my non-operational MacBook, and I found out that we needed a brand account because we are now a brand, a heteronormative brand called The Tall Grass, which is a podcast. He did the grass, I did the S's. Please tune in next week when we discuss more
super heterosexual, masculine, non-robotic functions.
Please rate my flannel. Thank you.
Did you know Nancy Pelosi will retire?
We don't give a fuck about Nancy Pelosi.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please like and subscribe.
Oh, I got to do my bit.
Oh, your bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
This has been a production of The Tallgrass, which is a podcast. He's out of frame, but he did do the grass. I did the S's. If any of the things that you have seen and or heard, this is an audio-visual experience exclusively on Grindr. If any of this tickled your brain, your spinal column, or helped to heal the inflammation that you may or may not have in the joints of your extremities from eating candy on Halloween, if this has healed any of your childhood trauma, has caused you to think differently or more accepting towards robots, gay, Amish, or otherwise, if this podcast has caused you to reconsider the shape of the earth, please consider taking the subscribe button. I want you to take the subscribe button and rub its shoulders gently, like you're Dave Cressy near the Situation Room. After you have massaged the shoulders of the subscribe button, I want you to whisper into its ear, I will always be here for you. And I won't treat you like that other man did. And even though I am tempted to, at some times, objectify you in the same way you have been in the past, I want you to know that I respect your autonomy as your own individual subscribe button. And after you have earned its trust, I want you to smash it. I want you to smash it in a way that would make your mother blush. Once you have done that, I want you to go ahead and hit the bell. I want you to hit the bell so that you can be reminded each and every time we make a subsequent episode of The Tallgrass, which is a podcast. Thank you.
I think that was good.